So last weekend I took Purrely to the Stone Mountain Regional and I got 93rd place. Wasn't enough to get my invite for nationals, but I really like this list. It was really good, and even though 93rd place is not something proud to or something to be proud of, it's still really good to like record your thought process and like your deck choices for just upcoming or future events. So let's just get into the list and just talk about like every card choice and whatever. So first off, for the main deck, I played pretty standard for the Purrely lineup. I mean, none of this has changed. So we played the three Purrely. I know people play two, but you could play. I think three is just better, especially with a lot of hand traps and you want to have engine. Three Purrely, the three quick play spells, happy and pretty, and then obviously these are at two and this is at one. We have the three my friend Purrely, the three Purrely Street, and then the one Purrely Yeep. So you can play the second Yeep just so you can have another target to hit off of the Purrely and cut like the Purrely and then keep the engine the exact same amount, which is I think 21 or 22 cards. So this is just pretty standard. There's nothing really different about this. But for the non-engine is what I had to think about like playing when it came to the Purrely deck. And I decided on one talent, one Droll and Lockbird, three Nibiru, three Ash Blossom, three Ghost Mourner, three Veiler, three Imperm, and then to final it off is the one Rivalry. The one talents and the one Droll were mainly just cross out targets, and they were just two good cards that were good going second. But I didn't like Droll as much as the other hand traps because I felt like Droll was it just didn't do much unless you had like a combination of Droll plus another hand trap, which I guess you could say for something like Ash Blossom or even Nibiru. But I felt like they did more to impact the Snake Eye deck than something like Droll. So yeah, that's why I played this lineup, and then I did side deck the Droll and Lockbirds, the rest of them at least. And then when it came to, obviously, Mourner, Veiler, and Imperm, they're really good to kind of stop the combo altogether. The best hand traps to stop the Snake Eye deck. And then Rivalry was like the last card I put in. It was kind of just like this card is just really good against the Snake Eye board because if you look at a lot of the Snake Eye decks or you look at Snake Eye period, a lot of their pyro monsters aren't very scary. The only one that's really scary is Flamebird, and if you could deal with Flamebirds, that's like pretty much it when you have Rivalry. But yeah, I'll talk about Rivalry in a bit because there was something that came up to where I almost won the game because of Rivalry alone. But yeah, we'll get to after the profile. But that is it for the main deck. It is 40 cards, and then for the extra deck, we play the two X Purrely Noir, the one E Purrely Noir, the one Plump, the one Beauty, and the two Happiness for the Purrely lineup. This is pretty standard. Some people play two Beauty. Some even maybe play two Noir, but I felt like this was necessary. I mean, the only thing I would consider bumping up to two is the Beauty, but yeah, it's pretty standard at this point. And then for the non-Purrely extra deck monsters, we have the one Robin, the one Nightingale, the assembled Nightingale, one Downard, two Zeus, the one Typhon, the one Anima, and then to top it all off, the one of the best extra deck monsters right now, SP Little Knight. Um, I liked it most of this extra deck, if I had to be honest. I think the one extra card that I was pretty sad about was definitely the Assemble Nightingale. I felt like it was really good if I had two level 1 monsters on the field, either when I got stopped or when I was comboing off very hard. I would end up with like two level 1 monsters on the board, and I would just go into the Assemble Robin, but I felt like it wasn't really necessary. And also, SP Little Knight shares that same like utility. is like a card that is also good in like other situations. But also, if I have like 2 level 1s on the board, I could probably go into Anima, then go into SP Little Knight, or just go into SP and Little Knight by itself and just let it sit there as an interruption. So I felt like the Simple Robin just didn't do enough. I mean, it was fine in one of the matchups, which was against Blind Second Snake Eye, but they had the Curry card to get rid of it, and as well as my Noir, so it just didn't do much at all. I mean, it did something, but it just wasn't enough to justify playing it. So in the future, I'd probably play maybe another Beauty and maybe the ancient Link monster, the Moon, to out stuff like Skill Drain. I think that is probably better than the play Robin, and just stick to SP Little Knight if I need something to get rid of bodies to turn it into interruptions. Another card that I'm gonna highlight is Zeus. Zeus was insane, especially against the Kastura matchup. Because you play 2 copies of Zeus, they're most likely not gonna rip the second one. So as long as you have like 2 Zeus, you're pretty secured in that matchup because Zeus is just so insane to wipe the entire Kastura board. Because not only does it get rid of the Kastura monsters, but it also gets rid of stuff like Birth, so they don't have that follow up that they usually have, especially if they don't search the Caster Unicorn as follow-up. So definitely very powerful. I think another card that I was pretty bummed out about, but it just wasn't the fault of like the deck. It's just like I drew into very weird hands. Is that the Typhon? Typhon, it just didn't come out at all because like I didn't draw like a plethora of hand traps to where I can just normal summon a hand trap or even normal summon a Purrely and just go into Typhon. It felt like I would either hand trap my opponent and they wouldn't go into the extra deck, or I wouldn't have hand traps at all and my opponent would just combo and it just doesn't matter. Like they're just gonna out the Typhon anyways. So I don't know. It was weird. SP Little Knight did come up a couple of times. It was decent, definitely. So I mean, obviously this card's insane. It's no reason to cut this, but yeah, that was it for the extra deck. It was pretty good. I just think I should probably play another Beauty or a Moon, just to outskill him. And then for the side deck, we played the 2 other copies of Droll, the 3 Cosmic. We played 3 Crossout Designator, the 1 Called By, and then to top it all off, the 3 D-Fissure and the 1 Summon Limit. Droll was fine. It was mainly for other matchups, but I guess it's just another card going second against Snake Eye. And then same thing with Cosmic. It's like another card I can play for like the Fire King build. So yeah, I mean Cosmic is also really good in other matchups. Like if I play against Runic, because Runic is somewhat popular in the regional level, and it's just really solid overall against like Floodgates, like Summon Limit as well. Crossout and Called By, they're here for obvious reasons. Stops hand traps, especially Imperm and Veiler, that are really detrimental to the Purrely archetype. So that is pretty good. And then the 2 cards that I wasn't really decided on, but I ended up playing was the Fissure and the Summon Limit. I was watching profiles. Shout out to Dinkan Fam. He suggested that you played Summon Limit and D-Fissure. I think they were pretty solid. The only problem I had with these cards is that at the regional, I felt like a lot of people were playing stuff like Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, and just other cards like Evenly Match. And I got hit by Lightning Storm into Evenly Match, or not Evenly Match, Raigeki twice. I got hit by Lightning Storm, Raigeki twice. Like it just happens like that. So when I did have these cards, I had both Fissure and Summon Limit, and my opponent just he just cooked me. He just cooked me. So it is what it is. Like I still think they're very strong if your opponent doesn't have the out to it. But it just felt like at this regional, like every time I had a floodgate like this that would auto win, like 9 times out of 10, they would have the answer to it. They'd either have Cosmic, they had Lightning Storm, they have Feather Duster. Like I just really got sacked when it came to having these cards on the field because they just had the outs to it. So I don't know. I'm not sure about having these cards in the future. Depends. Maybe I'd have more hand traps. Maybe I have more chinnable floodgates like DDG or different dimension ground. It just depends. Honestly, we don't even know if we're gonna get a ban list as well. So I don't know. It's whatever. But yeah. I mean, overall, I think the list was pretty solid. I mean, it was strong. I don't think it was anything with the deck. I think I just got kind of unlucky when it came to a lot of what my opponents had. And specifically, I think when the one time I had the rivalry, I think it was the last round of Swiss. I went. It was game one, and I think I had like it was like pretty scary. So I had like Sleepy. I think it was like double happy, rivalry, and it was like one other card. I can't remember. Maybe it was like street or something. It was like street. So yeah, I had a hand like this, and there was a time for, and I think I drew into another card. Maybe I drew into like a pretty or something like that, or my friend. Maybe I had like a my friend or something like that. It was something like that where I had like 5 spells and like a single rivalry, or maybe I had like Ash Blossom. I'm not. I don't remember, but it was something like this, and I had rivalry, and I almost won. But I think the reason why I lost that game was because like they just had too many bodies on board. Like when they comboed off, or when I activated rivalry, because I went battle phase. I forced them into the battle phase because I felt like that was the best way to force bodies off the board. Maybe the IP into like a Appaloosa or something like that, or whatever. So I tried to like get as many bodies off board as possible, then activate rivalry. But it just didn't work because my opponent just like he summoned like all the Snake Eye monsters. He had like 2 Poplar, a Snake Eye Ash, and an Oak on field. By the time I resolved rivalry, so he had all those bodies on board, and then all he had to do was like go in the battle phase, do damage, and then like I couldn't do it. Like I just died, right? So I think rivalry maybe. I mean, it was okay because like at the same time, like I could have like maybe activated like a happy, protect myself, add follow up and stuff like that. But like at that point, like I'm just wasting value. So and they also had like a set card. They had like a maybe an imperm or something like that. They had like a couple of cards in hand because they full comboed plus like drew cards and stuff like that. Like it was just too hard for me to win at that point. And I figured just like revealing my deck was just not worth it because it just felt like even if I got a chance to play, like I probably got stopped and I probably lost. So I don't know. Maybe I could have played that a little bit different, but I think that was the only like maybe misplay that I did the entire tournament. I felt like overall I played pretty well. I played pretty well for a last minute change because I was gonna play Marine Cess, and that deck is trash. So I was just like, yeah, I have to play something that's a little bit better, and Purrely was definitely the choice. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this profile. Again, I know it's not like anything to be proud of. 93rd place is not really good at all, honestly. I hope to do better in the future. I am going to YCS Raleigh. Hopefully we get a ban list before that, so I can plan out like what I'm gonna play for that YCS, and hopefully I do good at the event. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I am out. Peace.